Hey everybody, welcome to the very first episode of the Achieve Nothing podcast from LMG Security. I'm Chris, I'm here with...
I'm Sherry Davidoff, the CEO of LMG Security.
I'm Karen Springer, the COO of LMG Security.
I believe combined we have, 35 years of experience?
We do.
Because you started when you were 12.
Or 8.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Experts, very young experts.
Yes.
So we are here, we've started this podcast and video blog because we think there is a need for information to get out to the world, to those of us who are not cybersecurity experts, so we can understand a little bit better about how the world behind the scenes of cybersecurity operates. So moving forward, we're going to be doing videos featuring all sorts of things cybersecurity. Today we're going to be a little bit more focused on ransomware. Ransomware has been top of mind for a lot of people the last few months, or last few weeks, I guess, because of the WannaCry ransomware attack that occurred in the UK. There were 230,000 systems that were infected in 150 countries. Hospitals had to cancel surgeries in the UK. It was like a really big deal, and people were completely unprepared. So LMG was on point and ready to sort of help people understand a little bit more about what's going on with ransomware, and so we're here to talk about it.
That's right, and one of the things we were talking about earlier is the fact that, there were news articles that said 230,000 systems across the world were infected. And Karen, you probably remember when Blaster hit, and Slammer hit, and what was the other?
I had a very long weekend with NIMDA.
Oh yes, NIMDA. And NIMDA hit 359,000 systems in 14 hours.
Right.
So that is far more than WannaCry today. It's funny, I feel like we're relearning lessons that we learned in the early 2000s.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, I think a lot of people, I'm a little bit tech savvy, so when I heard ransomware was going on, I mean, I knew more or less that basically computers were being, information on computers and networks were being hijacked in some way, and then the kidnappers, if you will, were asking for money.
Computer nappers,
we'll call that. So maybe it would be good to just take a few seconds and go a little bit deeper to define what ransomware is.
Yeah, so ransomware happens when your computer becomes infected with malware. It can be either through an email or through direct access to your network, and that malware will lock every file on the computer that's being used. At the same time, if you're connected to other computers, like if you're connected to a server or you're connected to your OneDrive account or something like that, it will lock every file that you have access to on servers and in the cloud.
That means it can encrypt all the files in a business or all the files in an organization. It can even encrypt all the files, as Karen said, in the cloud as well, and totally take you down. We had one organization where they even encrypted the backups, right, Karen?
Actually, they first deleted the backups, and then they encrypted the hard drive that the backups were on.
Oh, because I'm assuming they were thinking, if we hijack all this data and lock it up, but if they have a backup, then why would they pay us if they could just, reboot or whatever they would need to do to get rid of the ransomware? So for that, you said something that made me kind of curious. You said OneDrive. So OneDrive is sort of the shared workspace for Microsoft Office, correct?
Correct.
So I'm somebody that uses Google Docs a lot, like an online source. So are those kinds of things susceptible to that within an organization?
Yes, files in Google Docs, in Dropbox, in any of those file sharing programs. If you have access to them while your computer gets infected with the malware, they can be encrypted.
Okay.
Wow. And some of them have version control, though, so you could potentially roll them back. That's one of the protections.
Okay. So obviously for maybe smaller companies that are using some of these shared cloud-based services, so they are not paying all these software licenses, this is kind of an overwhelming situation to plan for it, and you can't really plan for it, but you can prepare yourself for it. What does LMG Security recommend doing to be ready for ransomware?
I think ransomware and cybersecurity in general can be a very overwhelming challenge for people, and so we put together our 3 R's of ransomware. And Chris, you very kindly put them in a beautiful triangle format, if we've modeled on the food pyramid. But it's important. The triangle in itself conveys some information, because you'll notice there are layers. The 3 R's stand for, number 1, reduce your risk. So you want to put the most effort into reducing your risk of ransomware happening in the first place. And then the second layer is respond. So put some time and thought and resources into your response program, because when ransomware happens, the longer you wait, the more damage it's going to do. You want to get it right away before it spreads across the network, and that means you need to be prepared to respond. And then number 3 is recover, so making sure that you can restore data after the fact quickly and easily. But in the pyramid, recover is the smallest amount. Hopefully, again, you'll be putting your most resources at the bottom and work your way up. So remember the 3 R's of ransomware at an enterprise level: reduce your risk, respond, and recover.
Awesome. This plan will be up on the web, or it is up on the website, lmgsecurity.com/ransomware. A lot of helpful information there. Because recover and backup is kind of the smallest piece of the puzzle, are there just some like really basic general backup procedures that most companies should be doing that we can just let people know right now?
Honestly, the 2 most important things in my mind are store your backups off-site.
Okay.
So make sure you have backups that are well off-site, and at the same time test your backups regularly. If you have backups and you've never tested them, you don't really have backups.
And what does that mean exactly, test your backups?
That means actually go through recovering files from those backups and making sure that whatever media you're using is good, and making sure that the backup process itself is working. Because once you've been infected with ransomware, that is not the time to find out that your backups aren't working.
Got it. So that's just like basically plugging in your plugging in your backup and making sure that if you need to download a file that it's not corrupted or hasn't downloaded incorrectly or something.
Yeah,
along those lines.
or it just hasn't been backing up at all.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you've had some good statistics about companies that experience an outage or a data loss.
Yeah, I believe that this was about 10 years ago, but even at that time, about 78% of the companies who experienced data loss and had poor backups were out of business within a year.
Oh, wow. So it's like a devastating situation.
It's a very devastating situation.
Excellent.
And easily preventable.
And easily an ounce of prevention, as they say.
And Chris, we always say in security that a good day in cybersecurity is a day in which nothing happens.
So there you go. Achieving a state of nothing. That's where you want to go. All right. Thank you. Until next time.